Well, we made it home and we are working hard on unloading. I'm going to go through some numbers with you on how to save some money while driving. I'll be back here just shortly. Okay, we just got back, and one thing I noticed on this trip, what we tried to do was to try to slow down a little bit and see if we could save a little bit and get better gas mileage. And we actually did get better gas mileage going and coming. But what's interesting is we always get better gas mileage going south than we do coming back north. So we're coming up from Northwest Ohio, and we went down to southeast Kentucky, or right there at Tennessee, at the corner of Virginia, Tennessee to Cumberland Gap. And it's interesting because we got over 2 miles a gallon going down as we did coming back. That's according to the vehicle. Now I should actually measure it out by calculating my figures, but I can safely say we definitely get better mileage. Now we can make it all the way in one trip, or in one gas tank, from Tennessee back to Northwest Ohio, up around Fort Wayne, Indiana. We're right on the state line. And I'll talk to you about the differences, but also how much you can save. I was telling you about the gas mileage, and I want to continue on that. You might be able to get 1% or 2%, maybe even 3% cash back on your credit card, and that helps somewhat. But what if you could increase your savings by 20% rather than price per gallon of who knows how much or how little that you might get on an app like Get Upside? And you could use both of these things at the same time. But don't forget that the easiest way to save is to not spend to begin with. So if you are looking to save on gas, maybe drive a little slower. And what I mean by that is, well, I like to drive fast. I like to really drive fast. Of course, you know, not to break the law or anything. Well, maybe. But anyhow, if you drive 80 to 85 and you're on the highways, you know, most of the time you're not going to get pulled over anyway, because that's pretty much what everybody else is going nowadays. But you look at that price and you say, yeah, you know, I'm getting there a few minutes faster. But what if you can actually save quite a bit more in gas? So I went from averaging 23.5 miles per gallon to averaging 28.4 going down. Now I think my gas gauge, or my computer in the vehicle, averages the last 100 miles, I think. I really should check the whole thing. And that might explain why we get better gas mileage going down than coming back. Even though you'd think that in the mountains you would get better mileage. However, that doesn't seem to be the case. On the flat ground, where you'd think you'd get the best, I'm actually getting the worst. Now it could also have more to do with that it's just really windy up here, and that's probably why we have so many windmills. And I'll on to the last one anyway. Okay. And the wind, the prevailing winds, at least what we learned about in our FAA pilot's class, is coming from west to east. Well, that last stretch of 45 miles before my highway home is actually going straight into the wind. I think that might be where the problem is. And it's averaging that last 65 miles in there, and so the mileage is dropping quite a bit. So what I did this time to test, I normally average, I peak out at about 85 miles per hour on the I-75, which is what a lot of them do. I know it's not right. 80 miles per hour, 75 would be the minimum. And I'm passing people, going in and out, weaving, and I'm also using the brake quite a bit when I come up on somebody if I can't weave into the next lane and get over. And that right there is using lots of power because I'm constantly speeding up and slowing down. And I found that if I use my cruise control at 71, my miles per gallon actually is tremendously better. So we got 28.4 going down. By the time we arrived, that's what it said. So that is a nearly a 20% savings over the 23 to 25 miles per gallon I was getting before. Does that add up to enough to save? Well, if we're driving 350 miles, which is approximately what we're doing, and I'm going to use my calculator here, 350, and we divide that by 28 miles per gallon, so that way we use about 13. And if we would go and say 350 divided by 24, because it would be somewhere between 23 and 25, that's 14.5 gallons. So are you willing to spend that extra? Well, depends on what your price of gas is right now, but you're basically saving at least 2 gallons of gas. Is that $8 worth it to maybe slow down a little bit? I don't know, you'll have to decide. But maybe if you do all those things together, whether it's like the Get Upside app, or if you want an invitation from Get Upside, just ask me. I'll be glad to send it to you. And use your credit card cashback rewards. I get that. But your best is going to be to just slow down a little bit. Ugh, I hate that. I like to drive fast. Oh well. It's probably, getting to my age, it's probably time to slow down a little bit. Take care. God bless. Have a great time. I'm going to show you some pictures here. 68 degrees when we were there on Friday, and yesterday it was cold. We had 8 inches of snow, and it stuck. It stuck, and there was ice all over. Here you go. Take care. God bless. There's a bunch of fresh boulders that fell off with the tree. A big poplar fell with it. Another thing to keep in mind while you are hiking or doing outside work is make sure that when you bring your gloves, you don't bring 2 of the same hand. One hand had a glove and the other one didn't, because I brought 2 right-handed gloves.